Så med det så lämnar jag över till Tobba och till panelen. Welcome everyone.
Thank you very much. It's going to be great to do this about maybe an hour or something. Just a little pointer here. I do not see Lisa in the panel. You are only, I don't know if your camera is, there you go. Cool. I'm just going to start introducing myself here. I am the vice chairman on the board of SOM, which is having the Manifestgalan this week. And I'm also running a record label where I've been doing punk rock and garage stuff for, I can hardly remember how many years, but it's called Swords Productions. We're based in Örebro, Sweden. And to make a long story short, I've actually become interested in more and more about this subject, funkis music, which we will explain a little bit later, thanks to one of the great panelists here, who is Sami Helle, the bass player from Pertti Kurikkaan Nimipäivät. Excuse my pronunciation, but and also a very great solo artist these days, called Sam Heat. I heard this great punk band called PKN, that we're gonna be hearing more from later. And for years we've been applying for some funds and planning, but the corona came and destroyed all the plans we had. But this year we're starting a project to actually introduce a lot more music from these funkis artists that are great all over the country here in Sweden to the music business. So most of this panel will be a very, I would say, success story telling about how great some stuff have been going in Finland, and how some of the artists and some of the organizers feel about it. So I'll just go over and let yourself introduce yourself, the first, or apart from me, only Swedish person, Love, maybe you can start.
Yeah, my name is Love Saraviansa, and I am a music producer and DJ, and been touring and making music for 10 plus years. I am also working as a senior label manager for a distribution company called Alloded. And I'm Swedish, but I'm based in Copenhagen. And I have disabilities. So I am, I don't really know how to pronounce it in English, but cerebral palsy. So my right side is affected in my motor skills, and yeah, I haven't really a perfect answer for how it's affecting my body, but yeah, fair amount, I would say. And yeah, the last few years I've been working in the music business professionally, working with distribution, independent music distribution, and yeah, I think that's it.
Great. Shall we go on with the musicians and let Sami introduce himself?
Hello everybody, my name is Sami Helle. Probably everybody knows that I was the bass player for PK and Pertti Kurikkaan Nimipäivät. That was a big chunk of my musician life. So we had that band was really great. So, and then after that I became a solo artist. So I I have a trio what's name is Sam Heath, and I play jazz with a twist. So and then after PKN I thought what are we going to do as a band? So we started a shop, Pertti Valinta. Okay.
Yes, we have a little video about Pertti Kurikan, so maybe I can get some technical help to just show the one called PKN in the chat there.
No.
Kitaralla.
Jos ei ihminen kaavessaan, niin rupesi sitä vituttaan.
Toni, soitat oikein. Sari skarppaa.
Tänään mä vedän itteni pään täyteen. Mä en välitä mistään muusta.
Minun pitää käydä töissä. Meillä on tuhansia, miljoonia faneja ympäri maailmaa.
Vittu mä en jaksa tällaista.
Mä oon tätä 60 vuotta Sipä jää eläkkeelle.
Jos sinä jäät eläkkeelle, niin mä ammun itteeni.
Mä en halua!
Älä huuda! Vittu teidän kanssa, saatana! Hello, Conchita!
Hello, hi, nice to meet you.
We are the heroes of our time. Te olette helvettiin!
Sekin vittu Eurooppa!
Hei Toni!
Mä haluan takas sen meidän ilon oikeesti, Toni. Eiku Pertti, eiku Kari.
On tääkin elämä.
Niin, kiitti kun pilasit mun elämä.
Onnes kun pääsee eläkkeelle. Onnes.
That's a very good short presentation, I would say, of the band. So maybe maybe Lisa should go on and talk a little bit about you. So.
Hi, I'm almost crying because I miss you, Sami, and
I miss you too.
Pertti and everybody in Finland. My name is Lisa. I currently work at Swedish Radio with in Finnish channel as a music editor and producer. But I've been working with Sami and the other guys in Pertti Kurikan nimipäivät for some years in Finland, building up the brand, mentoring, touring, drinking coffee, drinking beer, and chatting. So yeah. I know those guys quite well. The project we are about to start here in Sweden with Tobba is to somehow take the Finnish model to Sweden, and you are gonna hear about that in a minute when I leave the talking stick to Heini Merkkiniemi, who is the founder of Outsider Art Festival and also some kind of Tobba by NAV.
It's the hub.
Yeah, of the outsider art life in Finland, both music and art.
Yes, Heini, hit it.
Oh, thanks, Lisa, for a great presentation. We miss you too. We want to drink beer with you as soon as possible. It's nice to be here. Nice to see you all. Well, my background is in music also. I've been actually teaching the members of PKN 20 years back. And now, after this wonderful power shift, they've become my bosses. So we go way back, and we have a history of developing things together for all these years. And now in Pertti's Choice, Pertti Valinta, the shop and agency that PKN founded after the band retired, we are hosting a platform for Finnish outsider artists, including management, different kind of productions, like the festival production of Outsider Art Festival. It's the biggest single production annually. And we have our own radio show and different kind of development projects going on. I'm the director of the festival, but also doing management for Pertti's Choice. And now it's happy to be here and share ideas with you guys, and hopefully also do something together in the future. I think this is the thing that we have to do within both countries to really influence the whole industry to become more inclusive.
Yes, and we have a short movie clip of your Open Art Festival too, so maybe we can see that one now.
Aivan alla jokaisen ihmisen tällä planeetalla. Jokaisen ihmisen pitäis välittää. Jokaisen ihmisen pitäis ymmärtää. Ei muuta tarvita. Kun rauhaa ja rakkautta, muista siis love and peace. Love and peace. Love and peace. Rastafari. Love and peace. Cigarette. Love and peace. Love and peace. Jokaisen ihmisen tällä planeetalla. Jokaisen ihmisen täällä taivaalla. Jokaisen ihmisen pitäis ymmärtää. Jokaisen ihmisen pitäis käsittää. Rastafari, underground, ei muuta tarvita. Ei tarvita, ei tarvita. Kun rauhaa ja rakkautta, muista siis, love and peace is alright, oh yeah. Love and peace. Love and peace. Rustin. Love and peace. Rastafari. Jamaica. Curates. Bob Marley. And the Wailers. And Peter Doss. And reggae music.
Yes, looks like a really great festival. How have you been doing during the pandemics? Have you been running the festival or?
Yeah, it was actually designed during the pandemic, and so we got a fresh start doing the hybrid festival from the beginning. So we didn't have the other festivals. We didn't have to change any old production models or concepts. Really, we could start fresh. It was a benefit for us. So doing everything hybrid means double audience, actually. So we've been doing good and continue like this also. As you saw in the film, we have a virtual gallery, for example, for exhibiting the visual arts program, and the whole festival spreads around the city. So we're taking over different kind of spaces in the city, public spaces, private spaces, galleries, museums, art labs, and so forth, even the Central Library in Finland. And doing so, we're able to operate pretty fluently within the restrictions, and we don't have to actually carry out the whole risk during the pandemic. So it's been a good strategy for us. And also for music, we've done streaming for all the events. So we've been able to also connect audience outside Finland, which has been great for artists.
How has it been for you, Sami, during the pandemic? Did you have any jobs, or did you have to sit around the house?
Oh, no, first of all, it was like I had to do some work at home for a while, and then I got, I have had work. So a lot of, I'm like 3 days a week I'm in the shop in Pertti Valita, and 2 days a week I'm doing music. So it has been good. And hopefully right now, because if this pandemic just goes away, or we can start opening up our society, I hope I can get to do some gigs too. So
absolutely. Maybe you want to talk a little bit. We're saying the shop here, so maybe we should explain a little bit closer, because I think it's quite unique that you have started your own record shop and started a company. And
it was like when in 2015, when Pertti Kurikan nimipäivät, we decided to stop as a band, and Pertti went to retire. Then we started to think, what are we gonna do? Then one of us got, I don't know who one of us got this stupid idea that let's put a shop together. A shop, and then nobody did not know anything about to become a shopkeeper and owner and things like that. But we're being like every day this is a learning new. So, and we have a shop, and I'm here 3 days a week right now, working here, and I'm loving it. And then we have, of course, I'm proud of our different projects what we do here in our shop. And one of the things that I'm right now looking forward to is, of course, our festival. I was last year there to working last year in the festival, and I loved it. So I'm one of those persons who likes to do different things, and what we sell records. Then we have our own gallery, and then then we sell different artists, different kind of their works. So we have a lot of. That's why it's called Sekotavarakauppа, because we're selling a lot of different things.
Yes. And Love, I know that you're also a musician, but how did you cope with the pandemic?
Well, I work full time with my music business job, so for me it wasn't like I lost income. The sad thing was that we released an album just a month before everything got shut down, and we haven't been able to tour on it or play any shows at all. Like doing streams and stuff isn't really our thing. We don't really see it as a like a substitute to going to a club or going to a festival. So we just everything has been on ice. So hopefully it will eventually at least be some back to normal. So basically haven't done anything music related, and well, making music but not performing or playing out at all for 2 years. So I don't remember how it is anymore.
Some of you, you were more of a high risk in the high risk zone in the COVID. But if we are gonna come back to the issue of funkis, which is a word we use here in Sweden, and I don't really know in Finland what word would you use to describe your disability, or what would you call it, Sami?
I'm mildly mentally handicapped, so that's because I'm not. I don't even. It's I never, but I call myself mildly handicapped. So.
And have you felt, since the panel is about breaking it or not in the music business, have you felt like, have you had any, like, was it an advantage even, or has it been a problem with that?
No, not in when we played with PKN, Pettikurkan Nimipäivä, it was like all our fans and everybody was like a family. So I never felt like that I didn't belong. So from that it has been, because a lot I have taken that to my this new trio, and there's a lot of my old fans that who likes the new music what I do. So I haven't had any issues, because when PK started, it was like everybody liked us, so we didn't have any issues in that all the years when we were together.
No. Talking about that, Love, would you say, would it be an issue if we're talking ethics, for example? How would you feel? Is it okay for you to use this as like a unique selling point, or is it pushing it too far, or is it too far if maybe if a label or someone would point out, look at this disabled person here, and use it in that way?
I think for me personally, I'm like if you are in a position where you have a handicap, a disability, you are entitled to decide that yourself. If you want to push it, then do it. It's like everyone in the music, like an artist or a band, they all need to think about their like, how do I want to be like viewed? What's my artist persona? Whether you like it or not, that's the reality, and that's something that everyone needs to deal with. Like, what do I want to show the world? And if you want to push that, go ahead and do it. Like, knock yourself out. I would say that no one can tell you as a disabled person to, like, you can't say that, you can't have those views, or you can't, like, you have to adapt to fit like the rest of the music business or the world in general. But when it comes to like how a label can push someone with a disability, that is, I guess, something that needs to be talked about with the artist or the band, because some people might not want that, and some people really want to push that because it's as you say, a unique selling point. And we all have to play the cards that we're dealt. And if my brand could be that I'm a CP, then maybe that's a really good like opening into some kind of, oh, he's unique, or like he's doing his thing with one arm, or no legs, or whatever it might be. So I would say that the label needs to really respect the artistic, like the artist's artistical plan or like idea, and they can't just go on and push something like tell the world that you're something that you might not want to talk about. It's the same with anything else. Like, I might not want to talk about my sexual orientation or my background. It's the music that's matter. But everyone like do their own thing, as long as it comes from them and not from someone else.
Heini, you talked a little about the Outside Art Festival when we talked earlier, how you are taking or choosing the participants. Maybe you can tell us a little more about that on this subject.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I would like to say to Luva that I totally agree that this is an artist's choice, how to brand yourself and whether to have that the disability used as an advantage or not, whether to like put it in the focus or not. And that was actually the founding point of Outside Art Festival in Finland also. We started with the Autism Foundation by interviewing people who would like to have their dream festival. What would it look like and what would it be like? And we ended up interviewing also other disabilities besides autism spectrum, and found out that there are not many events or festivals that feel like welcoming to people with diversities, and definitely not one where they could act as like organizers. So we started founding this type of platform where these people could be the decision makers and the actors and give like all the power to the artists. So now we have all our production teams, artistic team, all the decision making processes are made with these people. So we're bringing in like kind of outsiders and insiders from the industry to work together and to develop this sort of inclusive festival curating and production models also. And the decision making is the process by an open call for all Finnish artists, this year also for artists abroad, since we launched the international artist residence. And it's open for anyone to apply. And by applying, the artist makes a decision whether to join this family or not. So we're not taking a standpoint to who can apply and who not. And the decision makers are outside artists also, so they're the one to choose also. So like we're just making things possible, not making decisions or taking making limits to people to attend to. But there is also a history for outside arts, and there is a market globally, and it's an existing phenomena. So different countries, the concept of outside arts has their own unique definitions also. In Finland, it refers to all art disciplines for start, music, visual arts, film, performance arts, so forth. And also pretty much everything outside the art establishment. So everything outside the formal education, for example. But there are gray areas, for example, in music, we don't have that sort of very restrict lines between education and non-education, because, for example, in pop music, we don't make that difference, obviously, like, for example, in classical training. But I know in many countries have different points of view to the word in general, to outside art. And we've been with Pertti's Choice and PK, we've been touring around the world, also attending the Paris and New York fairs, for example, which are the biggest events in the market, to also learn more about what's coming and going in different countries. And for example, in the Central Europe, it's more like traditional. And in the Nordic countries, we have more like, I think, a fresh insight. Also, mainly because we have this very strong will to do this hand in hand with the promoting cultural rights and this inclusivity in the society in a more broader sense, and the interest to also develop the whole industry in a more sustainable direction. For example, in Finland, we've since Me Too, the discussions are going more from gender equality to diversity on the whole. So we're giving voice to all sorts of diverse backgrounds and peoples and groups. And it's becoming more and more like in the end, I think we're going in a direction where we're going to end up in, we all got something. So we're becoming more and more equal, and the whole, but in the structural side of it all, in the industry structures and organizations, we still have a lot to do. So in the side of the there are different levels of the development I see, and there has been like the last 5 years in Finland has been a big transformation going on also in music organizations and in the industry on the whole, and the main part of the industry is committed to promoting cultural rights, and it's becoming also like a symbol of a modern organization to fight for these rights and to develop inclusive operations. So we're doing this together. So with the insiders and outsiders, it's a common task.
Yes, Lisa, you have not been saying much here. You've been touring and managing Sami and other artists like Organ Free here in Sweden too. What would you say is the Finland, obviously, for me at least, have come a long way before Sweden, but can you point out some differences where we could be much better in comparing to Finland?
I think networking is one really big thing, and also I don't think the music industry in Sweden think yet that this inclusive music industry, they know that for them the inclusive music industry is gender based. So I think the Swedish music industry is not yet there to see beyond that. And that's happened in Finland, like during these 5 years. You can also see that in lots of Finnish music industry festivals and events. Nowadays, you almost every time have a panel or a workshop or something that either Heini, Sami, or Kalevi Helvetti, who is the alter ego of Pertti Kurikka, does. So this is something we here in Sweden need to work with. And also because I think that it's also quite difficult to find artists here, and I think that's because of the lacking of networking. There are lots of organizations, there are lots of really nice artists, really good visual arts, fine arts and everything, and music, but because of the lack of the networking, it's really hard to know where they are. That's something I can see like directly, which is the quite a big difference. We are not so visible here in Sweden.
No, we lack an outsider art festival, maybe.
Yeah, we have to have one in Stockholm besides Helsinki.
Yes, we need to start a filial here.
Yeah, we do. I just typed in the chat one network example from Finland. These are theses for developing inclusivity and diversity within the music industry in Finland. It's development work that we've been doing with Music Finland that promotes Finnish musicians abroad, and the Musicians Union in Finland, and it's been signed by many Finnish organizations, and with signing these theses, these organizations are committed to, for example, make plans for how to develop inclusivity in the future. Will take care of that. All lineups, for example, the artistic decision making is inclusive, so you can't have just all white male panels anymore anywhere, not in the boards, not in the production teams, not in the lineups, nowhere. And you can also, these organizations have committed to do these actions that are like published in their strategies and in their communication plans and so forth. So it's a good example of how to engage the networks in doing the promotion work together.
Yeah, so as I said earlier when we when we met. I don't know if I have my microphone on. I can't see. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we were talking earlier today with Heini and Tobba and talking about this how important it is with this networking and how to start and maybe where to start it. And those theses in Finland, they are made already like 2017, or they started to make it 2017, and it started in Norway, where they took or decided those theses 2016, I think. So it's not a new thing, brand new thing from 2021. It's a few years old, and that's a really good reminder to take up those theses once in a while and see also where I put my company, what's the commitment here, what have we done, and so on. So in Finland, they have been doing, I'm not sure, Heini, you can probably fill in. Is it one or two follow-ups of these theses?
Well, different organizations have done there in their networks, but this affiliation is done, I think, 2 or 3, and it's still ongoing. So yeah, it started also with gender equality, but now going forward, it's becoming more of a conversation about diversity on the whole.
And that is something when you, I don't know, of course, we have some differences here in Sweden compared to Finland, how we work, what's the traditions. Sweden is traditionally, the whole music industry quite pop based, and there's a long traditions for pop music and so on, but still somewhere we need to start somewhere. So I'm thinking somehow finding these people, finding these doers, finding these artists, and start to building a network.
And it's also a collaboration between sectors. So we're doing, it's a combination of cultural and social and healthcare sector, really, because many of people with disabilities have their own support systems in the social and healthcare sector, and they need this support in order to be employed in the cultural sector. So people who work with these people in the social and healthcare sector should know a bit about the cultural sector, how to work in that sector. And so we need this kind of exchange also between sectors. And this is something that we've also tried to push forward in Finland. Many of our artists still need a lot of support, not only from the managers, but also from the places where they live, or the facilities that they have around them. So this is very important to remember too. So there's this kind of exchange of knowledge and also developing practices together that is needed.
I have a question. Can I ask a question to get Sami in a bit? Is it okay, Tobba?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Heini. First, Heini. Sami you are working for Sami. Sami is not working for you. How is Sami as a boss?
Sami is the best boss I've ever had. It's really a nice thing that we have. Sami is always mainly concerned about me doing too much work. He's the one who texts me at night, "No more working, Heini, stop working." And as such, I think a very good example of a boss. And it's also a privilege for me. I probably would be a very bad employee for any other boss. So it's very hard to be my boss. So this is probably the only boss that I would accept also. And it's an honor to serve this business and company. It's also a very unique thing for me because they've really been my students from 20 years back, and I've seen the whole story like growing into this point. So we share a lot, values and the whole road behind us, and the one in front of us also.
And Sami, how is it to run a business? Because you are running a business actually. You are not only working the store, you are running a business with your colleagues.
It was like it has been really fun. I love doing this, and I'm right now I'm more here than in my other job, Lyhty. So it has been. This is a really good, and especially now when we moved to this new place. So it's been wonderful. And
maybe you can show the place around if you can turn the camera, Sami. We've been just renovating that to take over a bit more of the space, so that you can see that gallery space and the record shop.
You want to see another side also?
You want to see more?
Just a quick peek.
So there's an art studio, one bigger and one smaller than a kitchen storage. It's pretty much in the center of Helsinki. You're welcome to visit anytime.
Looks really great. We have almost been talking now for 1 hour. So we're just seeing if anyone wants to ask Sami, Love, or the other guys anything. You can do it now. And I'm going to leave my mail here in the chat. And we have some interesting links you can see. So to round this up, Sami, I know that you are doing a comeback. You're doing a new album with the band.
Yeah.
Can we hear some little details about that?
Yeah. It's now it's English. My solo album is in English, and this record is a little bit personal to me because it's about my life. So it has been a really I love it. So it has been fun to do, and now I'm doing second record right now. So first one came out, and now I'm doing a new one. So and PK is doing a record in English right now. So we're doing just a record for America. So we're recording right now.
Yes.
We actually have one question from chat. Any good networking tips for Sweden, if anyone has that?
What kind of network is it, like regarding the artist side, or more towards the industry side, or is there because to me it's quite like different, or at least for me as an artist, I would see it differently than on the industry side.
Yeah, I see. I'm not sure actually. Maybe the person in the chat can We'll see. I am an artist, so maybe both. We got from chat.
Personally, I don't really know a lot of that like artist community or something like that, like devoted to people with disabilities. But I would say that just get in contact with a lot of different people and maybe that's very broad, but like depending on what the music you're making and what you want to achieve, then you can like just reach out to the community that is like fully able, or whatever you say. I don't think it's a bad thing to just go for it either way. Like work hard, network a lot, and reach out and let people know that you make music, and eventually one thing leads to another, and maybe you get in the right community, or the community in fact maybe the whole music community. So I would not be like hesitant to just like do whatever you can, just as I don't know who whatever artists out there, just work hard and network a lot, I would say.
And also maybe contact you in your role at Loaded.
Absolutely. Yeah, we release independent music, and that's our bread and butter. We focus on having independent artists, whether they're disabled or not. Good music is good music, and that usually doesn't like makes a difference in the release process, because it's just a digital or a physical thing that's made by someone, or like a group or an artist, and that doesn't really need to mean well that it's one or the other. So yeah, reach out. I listen to everything that comes in our way.
And also I'm on the board of SOM, where we have about 300 labels in Sweden. Feel free to contact me, or som.se on the website. There might be someone that would be a good connection.
So there is networks in Sweden. Now there are also a few communities on social media, like in Facebook. There are these communities for upcoming indie artists, or female pop artists, or non-binary artists in Sweden. So there are actually lots of different kind of communities, but I think the challenge is how to get these networks connecting with each other, to help each other to find new artists, to help artists to find communities and networks. And then also, of course, all the festivals. That's the best way to network. If you have access to industry events, there are lots of events, industry events, which are free and which are available for everybody. There are lots of breakfasts. Sweden, Music Export Sweden has some breakfast meetings every now and then, not so often, but but sometimes anyway. So I think there are places where if you are an upcoming artist, you should be.
Thank you so much. I don't think there's any more questions in the chat. And we've been here for an hour now. Thank you so much to all of you in the panel and to Tobba, who's been leading this conversation. There's a lot more to talk about, I think, so let's keep the conversation going elsewhere. And thank you so much. Och tack till alla ni som har lyssnat. Vi avslutar Sensus Talks nu som har blivit arrangerade av oss på Sensus studieförbund och som Svenska oberoende musikproducenter. Och nu är det ju dags snart på fredag för Manifestgalan. Så missa inte det. Det kommer livesändas från Nalen och ni kan se det på manifestgalan.se. Där kommer det streamas. Så tack så jättemycket för de här dagarna. And thank you so much. Hej då!